Hello everyone, myself Dr. Nabya Nihal, Assistant Professor in Department of Biotechnology, Faculty of Engineering and Biotechnology, Rama University, Kanpur. Today I am going to prepare a video lecture on the topic stem cells. So basically start with the stem cells, what is understand by the cells that have a capability to self-renew itself. Like I have written here that the stem cells are the self-renewal. It means the cells that is present inside the body that have capability to self-renew itself with the help of the cell division. They can differentiate into the other cell types and they can maintain their population by cell division, by the process of cell division. So now the main important thing is why we are using stem cells nowadays, why this topic becomes a very trendy. So these are the basic potential use, or these are the applications, the use of the stem cells. Like nowadays in the brain, simply the cases of strokes or the cases of the baldness, blindness, deafness. So in these type of severe cases or in these type of severe diseases, stem cells plays a very major role, or it play a very effective role to cure these types of cells, such as in the brain, stroke, traumatic brain injury, learning defects, Alzheimer defects and the Parkinson's defect. These are the neurodegenerative defects. So how to cure or how to get rid from these types of cells, so from these type of diseases, so in that case the stem cells are going to be used. Meanwhile, the baldness, blindness and the deafness, bone marrow transplantation, myocardial infarction, muscular dystrophy, diabetes, osteoarthritis and the spinal cord injury. So these type of diseases are going to be cured or are going to be treatment with the help of the stem cells. So now next is discussing about the classification of stem cells. Stem cells are classified on the basis of their differentiation potential and on the basis of their sources. So starting by discussing the first, that is on the basis of their differentiation potential. In the basis of their differentiation potential, it has been classified into 5 types. First one is the totipotent stem cells, second is the pluripotent stem cells, third is the multipotent, fourth is oligopotent and fifth one is the unipotent stem cells. So these are the structures. Like the first is the totipotent stem cells. Basically these type of stem cells are present in the zygote, and this is the fertilized egg, which is an example of the totipotent stem cells. In this, the differentiation of cells are into the fertilized eggs. So next is the pluripotent stem cells. In this, the example is the embryonic stem cells. In the embryonic stem cells, the stem cells has been taken out from the inner cell mass of the blastocyst, and this is the differentiation into the cells in the three germ layers, that is the ectoderm, mesoderm and the endoderm, and in detail we are discussing in the embryonic stem cells. Next is the multipotent stem cells. In the multipotent stem cells, the example is hematopoietic stem cells. In this, there has been the cell differentiation into the discrete cell types. Fourth one is the oligopotent stem cells, and the example is the myeloid stem cells. In this, there has been differentiation in an specific cell types, like the myeloid stem cells, basically formation of the myeloid progenitor cells. And the last one is the unipotent stem cells. It means there has been a capability to produce a single cell type. Uni means a single and potential, so it has a capability to produce a single cell types. That is, the example is the muscle stem cells. Next is on the basis of their sources. So on the basis of their sources, the stem cells are further bifurcated into the 3 types. First one is the embryonic stem cells, second is the adult stem cells, and third is the umbilical cord stem cells. So in the embryonic stem cells, the embryos, as we all know that after the fertilization process, after the eggs are going to be fertilized, it is converted into the zygote and embryos, and the embryonic process has been done in the blastocyst. So the blastocyst, the inner cell mass has been collected because they have a self-renewal capability. The stem cells, they possessing a stem cells, and they have a potential to self-renew, and furthermore has been applied to cure some diseases. in meanwhile same as in the adult stem cells. In the adult stem cells, basically in this case the hematopoietic stem cells has been discussed. Basically, as we all know that in the humans, hematopoiesis, it means that there has been a development and the formation of the red and the white blood cells. So there has been a generation, and how the generation has been done in a newborn baby, that has been depend in the adult stem cells, that has been discussed in the adult stem cells. And the third one is the umbilical cord stem cells. Umbilical cord stem cells, previously it has been used as a biologically waste. Umbilical cord is a tube-like structure in which the baby, in which the placenta are attached with the mother, and the umbilical cord, it will provide the nutrition and the oxygen supply to the newborn baby or to the placenta. So nowadays the umbilical cord stem cells are also is going to be used to cure some neurological disorders such as the Alzheimer disorders or the Parkinson's disorders. And apart from that, it has been also used to cure some heart strokes or some brain strokes or the type 2 diabetes. So starting with the embryonic stem cells. Embryonic stem cells, it means embryonic cells that can regenerate and cure some diseases. So how it starts? Starting with the, as we all know that the fertilized egg and the sperm are going to produce, are going to make into the embryos. Okay? So this is the fertilized egg, and it is further converted into the few celled embryos, and after that the blastocyst will form. The outer layer of the blastocyst is called as the trophoectoderm, and the inner cell mass, which is consists of the approx 50 to 150 cell mass, and the inner cell mass are going to be collected because they have a self-renewing capability. So the inner cell mass of the blastocyst are the main source of the embryonic stem cells, and these inner cell mass are going to be cultivated, are going to be harvested in vitro conditions. In vitro conditions means these cells has been harvested in the laboratory conditions by using some feeder cell layers. Feeder cell layers, it will provide the suitable platform that will from where the cells will take nutrients from the feeder cell layers. So basically they are in vitro conditions. Generally we are using two types of culture medium. First one is the feeder cell layers, and second one is the feeder free layers. Feeder free layers, it means they are also a serum free layer. Serum it will act as a growth factors, and it will helps in the regeneration and the development of the cell mass. So the inner cell mass has been harvested from the blastocyst, and it has been grown in the culture, in the in vitro culturing process. It has been grown in the laboratory by using the feeder cell layers or by using the feeder free layers. In the feeder cell layers, generally we are collecting the fibroblast from the mouse, and it is also called as the MEF. So these type of media that has been responsible and that has give the nutritional source to the new cells, and after that the embryonic stem cells has been cultured in the lab. It has been divided into the three germ layers that I have already discussed in the term of the pluripotency. And from the first, on the basis of the differentiation process, has been already discussed that in the pluripotent stem cells, embryonic stem cells are the example. So it means that embryonic stem cells are pluripotent in nature, and first important point. And second one is that it can maintain the normal karyotype, and the third point is that it is not mortal. And the most important thing that it has been derived from the inner cell mass from the blastocyst. After culturing the embryonic stem cells in vitro conditions, it has been further divided into the three parts. That is, first one is the ectoderm, which is the external layer of the cell. Mesoderm, it is the middle layer of the cell, and endoderm is the internal layer of the cell. So these type of cells are responsible for the formation of different types of organs or different types of cells, such as mentioned here, like the ectoderm is responsible for the generation of the brain and skin. Simultaneously, mesoderm, that is the middle layer of the cell, is responsible for the generation of the muscle, blood, bone and the cartilage, and the inner layer of the internal layer of the cells, that is the endoderm, is responsible for the formation or the generation of the lungs, gut and livers. So after the generation of these type of germ layer or these type of cells, these layers are responsible to cure, or these layers are used in a therapeutic and the biotechnological applications, such as mentioned here, like the ectoderm are used, ectoderm cells that has been used to cure the muscular degeneration and the Parkinson's disease. Parkinson's disease is the neurodegenerative disease that can directly affect the nervous system of the body. Parkinson's disease and Alzheimer disease. Next, the mesoderm, that is the middle layer, has been taken from the cells and it has been used for the to cure the heart failure, anemia, leukemia, arthritis and bone fracture. And last, that is the endoderm. Endoderm is used to cure the diabetes and the cirrhosis. And these are the main 3 points of in which the embryonic stem cells basically work. It means that the embryonic stem cells are the pluripotent in nature and they are normal karyotype and they are not mortal. Adult stem cells are generally present in the bone marrow. They are unipotent and the multipotent. Unipotent means it has a capability to generate or to produce a single cell type, and multipotent means they have a capability or they can produce a discrete cell types. So basically there are the 2 main characteristics features of the adult stem cells. First one is the plasticity. Plasticity means that every cell has a potential to discrete. So in this case, the plasticity, like the dental pulp stem cells, has a plasticity capability and has a plasticity characteristic. Second one is the transdifferentiation. Transdifferentiation, so in this case the hepatic cells differentiate herself into the pancreatic cells and vice versa. It means that there has a transdifferentiation potential in the pancreatic cells into the hepatic cells. So now moving towards the main stem cells that represent the adult stem cells is the hematopoietic stem cells. As we all know that in the humans, hematopoiesis, it means that there has been a development or the generation of the red blood cells and the white blood cells. So the hematopoietic stem cells are multipotent in nature. It means that they can differentiate into the discrete types of stem cells. Multipotent stem cells are further bifurcated into the lymphoid progenitor cells and the myeloid progenitor cells. The lymphoid progenitor cells, they can distinguish into the NK cells, that is the natural killer cells, T lymphocytes and the B lymphocytes. The origin of the T lymphocytes is the thymus and the origin of the B lymphocytes is the bone marrow. As already discussed that the adult stem cells is basically present in the bone marrow, so the B lymphocytes, right. Next one is the myeloid progenitor cells. The myeloid progenitor cells are distinguished, or it has been distinguished into the neutrophils, basophils, eosinophils, monocytes, or also called as the macrophages, platelets and the RBC, that is the red blood cells. Now moving to the umbilical cord stem cells. Previously the umbilical cord is a connecting link between the placenta and the mother. Previously it has been treated as a biological waste. So before going into the study that it also has a capability to cure some diseases. So it has been used as a biological waste, and after going through the study, it has been used in the form of the stem cells just to cure some diseases like the neurogenital diseases and diabetes disease, strokes disease, right. So this is the structure of the umbilical cord. The umbilical cord are made up of the 2 arteries and 1 vein. Here you can see it that these are the arteries which is called as the umbilical arteries, and this one is the umbilical vein which is surrounded with the inside the umbilical vein there has been an umbilical cord blood, and this is the layer which is the endothelial layer. The umbilical cord the umbilical vein and the umbilical arteries are surrounded with a gelatinous like liquid which is called as the Wharton's jelly. Wharton's jelly, it will helps to protect the umbilical cord from the damage, from the tissue damage, and it will also help in the movement of the cord. So the stem cells has been collected from the umbilical cord, and further it has been used in the in vitro study. So here you can see that in the umbilical cord the Wharton's jelly, and it has been surrounded throughout the arteries and the veins, and furthermore the studies has been done. So that's all for the today's class. Thank you so much.